In today's video, we are going to cover only 23 nodes, but these 23 nodes cover 95% of n8n automation out there. I am using n8n for more than 1 year now, and in that 1 year, I have created several n8n workflow for my client. And from today's video, whichever nodes we are going to see, I have used any of the node in one of the workflow. It could be for any of the client out there. If you are a beginner or experienced person, this guide will help you a lot to revise or to come through and check again how does the node work, because I have created a very detailed and proper guide for you, where in the screen you can see the whole entire workflow out there. So there is so much of sticky nodes and very less node, because in this video my purpose is not to only show you how the workflow work, but to give you a proper guide out there. So stick till the end, because I am going to share this workflow with you so you can download the workflow and then start working on your own. So let's get started. So in this video, we have divided the nodes in 7 different parts: trigger, data storage, data transformation, logic and routing, external connection, AI integration, and utilities. So first, let's understand what is trigger. So trigger is nothing but event or any kind of an indication which starts the workflow. So there are different types of trigger. So the first trigger is a manual trigger. It's a trigger which you can use for while you are doing the testing of the workflow. So you can see it lets you run the workflow manually by clicking the execute workflow over here. So in the bottom, you can see this button. From here, you can select any kind of a trigger which you have. So if you have a manual trigger, you can select that. And if you click on the execute workflow, it will start executing the workflow. It is good for the testing purpose, and you can do the on-demand execution. It can help you to debug issue and training and demos purpose. Now another one is the schedule trigger. So schedule trigger is something runs your workflow automatically at specific time. When to use it? If you want to have a daily report at kind of every day at 9 a.m, weekly data sync at kind of a Monday at midnight. So you can choose any time, any day, any week, any particular second. At that particular time, the schedule workflow will start. So if you go inside this, you will be seeing this option trigger interval. If you want to trigger it every seconds, every minute, every hour, then how many days between the trigger, then you want to trigger at midnight, 1 a.m, 2 a.m, 3 p.m, or trigger at minutes. It could be any setting you want, you can make it up here. After that, we have a very important trigger over here. Most of the workflow rely on this kind of a trigger. It's called as a webhook trigger. If you want some kind of a indication, some event from external service out there, it could be from any service. So let's say, for example, you have a type form, Google form, and on form submission, you want to trigger. Or else, for example, you have a payment notification from a PayPal, Stripe, or any other payment integrator out there. You can use this trigger. So each and every application has one field called as webhook. So from inside this webhook, you will get this URL. Just copy this URL and paste in the third-party app. And whenever any kind of event happen, you will get a call over here. You will get a trigger over here, and you can run the workflow accordingly. So how it works? n8n gives you a unique URL. As I told you, send data to this URL from anywhere. Workflow trigger works instantaneously. So there are two settings over here: test and production. If you go inside this, we have a test URL and a production URL. Test URL is to just a test how the trigger is working properly or not. When you switch to the production URL, you need to make sure it is in the active format. Your workflow is in active format. And afterwards, we have app triggers. So there are so many apps out there. So in n8n, if you click on the plus icon, if you click on the action apps, you will see so many apps over here. There are more than 500 apps in n8n. So most of the apps have the trigger. So we can see we have a Gmail trigger, Google Calendar trigger, Slack trigger, Google Sheet trigger. So whenever new mail come, you will get a trigger. Whenever new calendar event or anything is coming, you will get a trigger. Whenever new message or any such kind of a things comes in Slack, you will get a trigger. So there are so many triggers out there. So you can use any kind of a trigger according to your app need. That's how the triggers work. So now let's move to the second part, data storage. What is data storage? So now you are working with the n8n workflow. So there will be a need, you want to store the data, retrieve the information from somewhere. So there are multiple options for that. So let's see. First option is Google Sheet. Google Sheet, you are all familiar with. It could be Microsoft Sheet, it can be Google Sheet. So when to use it? Everyone knows the Google Sheet. Your teammate might be knowing Google Sheet, your family member might be knowing Google Sheet, everyone knows Google Sheet. It is easy to use, easy to view and edit manually. Great for small and medium data. Okay, you can share it with a team member, so there is no much of a learning curve because everyone knows it. So there are common operations inside the Google Sheet. If you click inside that, you will be seeing operations over here. So you can append the row, clear the row, create a new entry, delete the row, or you can get rows and update the entry over there. It is perfect for lead, contact list, order tracking, logs and reporting. Limitation is not ideal for 10,000 plus row, because if you store multiple data inside the Google Sheet, it will get confusing and it would get out of your hand very soon. So if you have data till 10,000 row, which most of the application will be and most of the workflow might be having, Till then, Google Sheet will work amazingly. After that, we have Airtable. So what is Airtable? So Airtable is nothing but it's a powerful database with a spreadsheet interface like Google Sheet has. Why to use it when you want to have a relation data set? It means that you have two table which is connected with each other. In Google Sheet, you cannot maintain that part over there. But in Airtable, you can. If you want to link record together, if you want to have a multiple view, in Google Sheet, you have only kind of a single view over there, column and row. But in Airtable, you can have a grid view, Kanban view, calendar view, better data attachment type. So you can store the image, video also inside the Airtable. It's more scalable than Google Sheet. So pro tip, if your data has a relationship, use Airtable. Otherwise, go with the simpler option, which is Google Sheet. After that, recently new update came where we have the n8n data table. If you don't know what is n8n data table, there is a video in the I button. You can go and watch it. It's a natively database built directly into the n8n. No external service required. If you connect with the Airtable or kind of a Google Sheet, there is the latency involved over there because you need to call the API internally. n8n automatically does, but you need to call the API, get the data and show in the n8n. But in the n8n data table, it is natively stored inside there. So there is very less kind of a latency over there. No setup required, live inside the n8n. Very fast performance, free storage because you are hosting in your cloud or it could be in your server out there. Great for testing purpose. So when to choose n8n? Internal automation data. Okay. Then you want to have a temporary data storage during workflow. Small to medium data set. Don't want any external service setup over there. Okay. So pro tip, use n8n table for workflow only data. Use Google Sheet when non-technical team member need access because n8n data cannot be given access to any person outside the n8n. It can be used within the workflow over there. So now we are done with the data storage. It's time to move forward to the data transformation. So data transformation is something where you want to transform the data according to your need. So for that, first we have is kind of a set node. Set node is a very simpler thing. It helps you to create the new variable. Variable term will be familiar to the developers out there, but for non-techie person, variable is nothing but a new field which can be used in any other nodes out there. It saves the data to match what the next steps require. So there can be a scenario where one node relies the data from the other two nodes out there. So if you want a few example, you can see over here. This merge node required two input for 1 and 2. We'll be coming to merge node, don't worry about that, but it required two inputs over there. So we can use a set node to set the value which this merge node require in that format. So that's the purpose of how set node is work. So if I click on the set node, we have a manual mapping. You can give a variable name or any field name, and you can give any value out there over there. Okay. So if you want to access this node, click on the plus icon, search for set. You'll be seeing this edit field out there. Now we have another node is kind of a split node. So it helps to convert the array of list into the individual item. Okay. So because the most API needs the single item to process. You cannot pass the bulk chunk of array item over there. It needs single item. So for that purpose, we need to split the array of item into the single item. If I want to show you, I have a set variable where I have set this list of items over there. So we have a list of this object where we have a name, email, phone, and status. Now, if I run this node over here, you will be seeing that we have kind of a one item, but there are 10 different items over there. To split one item into the 10 items, we use the split out node. So you can see it takes from the symbol, we can see it takes a single item and split out multiple items over here. If I run it, you'll be seeing the 10 items over here. So from this, we can see we have a list of items, but from here we have the different items over there. Now another node is exactly opposite of this. It takes multiple items. So you can see from here, it takes multiple items and returns single item. It's opposite of a split out. So if I connect split out with this node over here, and if I run it, we'll again get a single item over here. That's the aggregate node, which combines multiple items back into the one. Okay. Now after that, we have the code node. This is the very important node in the n8n. It allows you to write code according to your need. It could be in JavaScript. Recently, they are working with the Python code as well. So it has an endless possibility. Whatever things come to your mind, whatever things you want to do with the data, you can do using the code node. So if I come over here and let's say I connect this. So let me remove this node. Let me remove this node and connect this set node with this code node. Now let's say inside the block of data, email, name, email, phone, status, I want to add another field as well. So for that, I can use this code node. If I run this code node, you will see we have a new field called as my new field. So currently I'm adding only single value, constant value as 1, but you can do anything over here. Okay, and don't worry if you don't know how to write the code. Just tell your logic in simple English language to Claude or any service out there, any LLM model out there. They will give you exact code for that. If you're using a cloud version, you will get a ask option over here as well. Since I'm using a server, I have set up this on my own server. I'm getting this option. So if you are very serious about n8n and if you want to use n8n in your day-to-day life, I would always prefer you have your own self-host version out there. So I was using the cloud version initially, but now I have shifted to the self-hosted version. Cloud version, you have a limitation. First, you are paying 2500 INR or 20 euros for the single month, which is too much. On top of that, you are only getting 2500 executions. There is a limitation over there. But in self-hosted, this all limitations are gone. And top of that, you will get a way lot cheaper. And for my self-hosted version, I am using this Hostinger for a long amount of time right now, and they have never disappointed me. And right now, the Black Friday sales is also going on. So you will get 69% off on the n8n self-hosting version. The one which we are getting for 2500 per month, we are getting 500 per month. And in top of that, if you use my code, you will get extra 10 to 15% off. So there are multiple versions over here where it's KVM1, KVM2, 4 and 8. Choose according to your need. I am using KVM2, so I'll choose this plan. And now over here we have 24 months, 12 month and 1 month. Now if you go in 24 month and I come on the have a coupon code and add Lakshit 15, you will get 15% off. Now if you go to 12 month and you want to have another option, so in 12 month the 15% doesn't apply, but you can get more 10% off. So if you can come over here, write Lakshit 10 and click on apply, you will get 10% off. So please hurry, this sale will go very soon and you can get this off anytime. So there is a link in the description box. You can use that link and grab this offer. So now let's get started with the logic and routing node. So logic as routing node is nothing but how you want to route your n8n workflow. So if this logic works, then go this route. If this logic works, then go this route. So for that first node we have is kind of a if node. It's a simple node like a true and false branching. If this is a true, then go to this route. If this is false, then go to this route. If I show you this part over here, let me connect this node. In this edit field node, we have this data where name is kind of a Lakshit Ukani. If I connect this node with this if node, we can see that I am checking does the name. So let me run this part now. Let me come over here and run this part. And now in the left hand side, we can see the name is Lakshit Ukani. And I am matching this name with some kind of a name over here, which is obviously not true. If I execute this step, now we can see it is going in the false branch because this is not valid. Now if I come over here and write Lakshit and this name contains Lakshit over here, it will go in the true branch over there. So accordingly, you can route your workflow with this node over here. And the advanced version of this if node is we have is kind of a switch node. It routes to multiple paths based on the condition. So you can have multiple condition over there. In the if node, we have only two conditions, true or false. But in the switch node, we can have multiple possibilities over there where we can switch by email category. If there is email categories according to the support, switch to go to this index route out there. If it's sales, go to HubSpot, billing, accounting, general, default inbox. It could be anything. So you can see I have made a switch node over here. Let me connect this part and come over here. This is a very vague example, but you will get to know. If now I'm saying if this condition is equal to Lakshit Ukani, then go to this branch. If this condition is not equal to Lakshit Ukani, go to this kind of a route. If it contains Lakshit, go to this route over there. If I execute this step, you'll be seeing it's going to the first route over there. Whatever condition first meets, it will go to that route over there. So you got the gist, right? So whatever condition is coming for you, you can write accordingly. So let's say one more example. We have a score example over there. If score is greater than 80, then go to this route. If score is between 80 to 50, go to this route. If score is below 50, go to this route over there. Got it? Now another node we have is a filter node. It's a very similar node to the if node, but with one slight modification. In the if node, we saw that we have a two route, true and false. The same route is there in the filter node, but filter node only allow the true route out there. So if you go to the filter route, we have the edit node over here. Let me run the edit node. Now in the filter node, we have written a condition of that it's equal to Lakshit, which is not true. So if I execute this step, it stops. There is nothing to go after this because there is nothing like a false branch out there. It's get discarded. Now if I write Lakshit Ukani and if I execute the step, it goes in the kept route out there because it's true. It filter out the one which are discarded. Now after that, we have another node is kind of a merge node. It's a very important node over there. But for this, we need to have the manual trigger because we are going to check it manually. Let me bring this over here and let me paste it. Okay, so we can see what is merge node. Merge node is nothing but it's combine the data from the multiple branch. Now let's say for example we are getting data from multiple branch out there and we want to combine it into the single data. We can use the merge node over there. So let me do the execute. Now in the edit one, we have a list of item. We have a list of 6 items over here. In the another variable set node, we have another 6 items over there. But if you see, top 2 items are same in both the nodes. If you see top 2 or 2 item we have same. I'll show you why I have kept that. Now let me split out. So you might be seeing from if I execute this step, we are getting 1 item. If I execute this step, I'm getting 1 item over there. Now let me run this. As I told you, how does the split out work? If we have array of multiple objects, it will split out into the whatever objects are there. So we have 6 items from here, 6 items from here. Now if I run this thing, you will see we are getting 8 items. Let me first show you the append part. So if I execute this now, we are getting 12 items. That's perfect. That's what we are looking for. 6 plus 6 is equal to 12. That's what we have learned. Okay. But if you see, there are data which is common. So if I show you, so you'll be seeing we have some kind of a common data. How we can identify that? If I choose the combine option and we want to fill to matches kind of a name, we can check on according to the name part. So we'll write a name over there. We want to keep matches. Okay. So if I execute the step, now you'll be seeing 2 items. This 2 item is same on both the data out there. Then David Williams and Jessica Brown will be there in both the array over there. If I want to have only keep non-matches, so we'll be getting the 8 items over there because 2 are 2 combined over there. Okay, you got the gist. You can play around with this node, but you got the understanding. It merges the two kind of a data into a single item out there. Now let's go to the section 5, which is kind of external connection. And this is the very critical and very important section out there because now we only have 500 apps inside the n8n and they are increasing day by day. That's for sure. But for now, we only have the 500 applications. But what if you want to connect any other application out there? So for that, we can use the HTTP request, which helps you to connect the other applications. So it helps you to connect to any web service or API. So there are different methods: get method, post method, delete, and patch. This is kind of a method using which how the HTTP nodes get connected and how does it communicates. So we can see we have API nodes over here. After that, we have another is called as a respond to webhook. Now we saw the webhook trigger, which gives us the trigger. But what if from wherever we are getting the trigger, we want to respond to them? How we can respond to them? We can use this node over there. So how does it work? From webhook trigger, we receive the data. Our workflow does the processing of everything. Now, after doing the processing, if you want to send data back to them, for that we have to use the respond to webhook to send the result back. There's only one new setting we need to do in the webhook trigger, which we just saw over here. Inside this, you need to select in the response, we need to select using respond to webhook node. So when we select this, it will wait for the respond to webhook node and then send the data. After that, we have another section called as AI integration. So we know how n8n is popular for the AI agent out there. So for that, we have the AI agent, which can be used for particular OpenAI ChatGPT node, which help you to summarize email, categorize content, report, generate response, extract data from text, translate language, anything, whatever you want to do. If I click on this thing, now you'll be seeing all the options over here. Inside the operation, we have messenger model, classify text for violation, whatever things you can think about LLM, it can be done. After that, we have a specialized version of this thing, which is called as AI agent. In this AI agent, you can connect any model out there. Over here, we can only connect the ChatGPT model. You can select only ChatGPT model, but in AI agent, you can select any chat model out there. It could be Anthropic, Azure, AWS, Cohere, Google Gemini, Grok, anything. You can also select the tools over here. So we have all the tools over here. After that, last kind of a section which we have is kind of essential utilities. First one is the wait node. So wait node is very critical when you know certain task will take some amount of time. So till then you have to wait your workflow over there. So for that you can use the wait node. After that we have the error trigger. This error trigger is very important. If you have a production workflow out there and for whatsoever reason your production workflow get failed, so you need to receive the trigger. Okay, so you might be having multiple 10, 15, 20 production workflow in your n8n server. So for all of them, if you go and write error trigger, it will take a lot amount of time. It will take a lot amount of management. So what you can do, you can create a one single workflow with this error trigger. So whatever workflow breaks, you can just call this error trigger. How to call that? You can come over here, click on three buttons, click on setting. You will be seeing this error workflow. So you have created one of the workflow which has this error trigger. Just select that workflow and whatever error your this workflow sends, this that workflow will automatically catch that, and you can accordingly process it, or you can send notification, you can send the email or whatsoever you want to do. After that, we have a normal execute workflow. So now there might be a logic which is common between multiple workflow. So instead of writing that logic each for each and every workflow and managing it whenever any logic changes, you can create a sub workflow which has that logic, and you can call that sub workflow from any of the workflow out there. So in short, you are creating workflow once and using it multiple times. After that, we have a loop over item. So as I told you earlier, that we have 10 items out there. So if I want to process each and every item individually, I can use this for loop over here. It's called as kind of a loop over time. But for a technical person, they might be knowing this as a for loop. So take one item, process it, go to another item, process it. So you can accordingly, this loop over item works. So these are all the nodes which are very important in 95% of workflow which people are using. So you can get this workflow from my school community. So go to my school community, go to classroom, go to my YouTube resource. After that, you can see 23 main n8n nodes, and in the resource tab you will be seeing this n8n template. Just download it, then import in your n8n workflow, and you are good to go. I hope you like this video, because this video took a little bit amount of more time to write the documentation, everything properly, and make videos for you. So there is the secret node with a very detailed information for you. You can download the workflow, work around with it, read it properly, and you are good to go. I hope you like the video. Please press the like button. Let me know your thoughts in the comment. We'll meet in the next video. Till then, take care.